working illegally, but they receive paychecks, they pay into that system and can never take their money out. So that's just money that goes in to cover all of these extra people that we have. The reason that that system is running out of money has nothing to do with how many people are legitimately drawing on it, but the fact that the government borrowed money from Social Security because they were managing it. So that would be like if you have a retirement account, an IRA with someone, and they said, oh, well, I borrowed $100,000 out of your retirement account and now you can't retire. So I just want you to remember, that's your money. When you hear people talking about Social Security, they're talking about your money that you have paid into. They base how much you get by looking at how much money you made in your top 35 years of earning. So this is something that's significant for all of you to remember, that you have paid into that. So you guys are all coming up on the age to vote. They're starting to talk a lot about getting rid of Social Security, privatizing a lot of it, and your parents paid into that. So when they get rid of it, they're talking about your parents not being able to get money that they have paid into the system to be able to receive. And you guys are now more informed than a huge percentage of adults who actually believe that Social Security is like food stamps and that anybody can get it, and it's not. You worked in to pay that. The Medicare tax is basically insurance for after you've retired, so it's just health insurance. And again, you've paid into that to be able to receive it. So those are the two taxes that you will never get back. What that means is if you're self-employed, you will receive not a W-2, but rather a 1099. The 1099 is going to have your income information, how much money you made with that company, as well as if they remove any taxes, which they almost never do. So 1099, sometimes you'll hear people and they'll be like, I work in construction and they pay me a check and they don't take any taxes and I don't have to pay taxes, and that is not what that means. If you receive a 1099 or if you get paid cash, you still have to file taxes on that. The problem is that because the company did not take your taxes out for you, your FICA, Social Security, and Medicare taxes, you have to pay those. On a W-2, you've paid half and your employer pays half. If you are not on a W-2, you pay half and your employer pays half, but who is your employer? You, which means you pay it twice. So when you hear people talking about that, they're actually going to be paying double the tax for Social Security and Medicare that they would have been had they had a W-2 job. On your 1040, they're going to put all that income. You've got wages and everything. The benefit of a 1099 or being self-employed is that you're able to take deductions. So if you have a phone for work and you're a W-2 employee and you pay the bill, can you deduct that off of your return? And the answer is no. It's just a cost of living. You don't receive any deductions. Are you, Tech?
Mm-hmm.
Did they not tell you I needed it?
Okay, so while she's working with Ted, me and Jayla are going to just talk to you guys for a minute. Who didn't get an evaluation form? Everyone got one? Okay, so we're just going to talk about something else now that they're busy. So what school do you guys come from?
Really deluge your brains with a whole bunch of stuff here. So on your 1040, you put your basic information, tells them how much they should be withholding. They use that to calculate what type of taxes you're going to owe. Then they take all of your income. So you have your regular wages that come to you on the W-2. Then you have your income that's self-employed, which is also business ownership. So if you go to file your taxes and you have been mowing lawns and someone asks if you own a business, the answer is yes. You are self-employed and you are a business owner. The only requirement to own a business is that you say, I own a business, and that you make some money doing it. That is literally all that you have to do to own a business. You do not have to go get a business license. You do not have to register with the state. Now, there might be other laws depending on what type of business you're doing. So if you want to be a massage therapist, you can't just say, I'm a massage therapist, and bam, you are. You can start doing it, and the IRS will take your money with no problem, and they don't care, but the state might have an issue with you doing that. So they're going to take your income, what's left of your business. So if you're a massage therapist, you have your business, you get to deduct your phone, you get to deduct your sheets, you get to deduct the table, you basically get to deduct all of these items that you pay for your business, and that reduces your taxable income. With a W-2, if you're the same massage therapist and you buy all of those same things, but you're a W-2 employee, you can't deduct it. You're stuck with it. So That is one of the benefits of that, which also means that you can buy things within your business that will help you make your business larger and begin making more money. So they're going to take the income. Beneath that, there's going to be adjustments. Most people don't actually have to deal with those adjustments. You're not going to see a lot of them because they're for educators, or if you put money into an IRA, which you should all be doing as soon as you get the chance. It's a really great way to start saving your money, and you do have the option to exercise it as a self-directed IRA. An IRA typically works. You give someone your money and you say, here's all my money. Go gamble on the stock market. I hope you win. And if they win, you get paid. And then they get a fee and they also get paid commissions. And if they lose, you lose. And they still get paid. And you still have to pay them their fees. The difference with that is that you do have an option of a self-directed, which means you can put all your money in that same retirement account, but you decide where you want to invest it. So if you want to be a bank and lend people money out of there and charge them interest like the bank does, you can do that. And you can make all of that interest and you make it tax-free because it's inside an IRA. So IRAs, good investment, two types. There's a Roth IRA and there's a traditional IRA. A traditional IRA means that you subtract the money off of your income before you put it in your IRA. Then you have to pay taxes when you take it out because you didn't pay taxes before it went in. A Roth, you pay taxes before it goes in, and then when you take it out, everything that's in there you take out tax-free. You will not pay any taxes on your retirement out of that account. So that'll be the one you'll see on the front. At the bottom, they're going to total what your income is after they have your full income and they subtract your adjustments. And on the back of the form, and I'm going to go over a couple things on this, even though they'll be changing next year. On the back of the form is a deduction. Deduction is how much they're going to reduce your taxable income before they charge you taxes on it based off of what kind of family you have. A single person was $6,300. A married couple is $12,500. And it doesn't matter, you could be a married couple with 6 kids or just a married couple with no kids, and it's $12,500. Right after that, this year, they're still allowing you to take exemptions. That's basically, they give you a dollar amount for every person in the house. So if you have 10 people in the house, this year it's $4,050, and you get $4,050 for every single one of those people you deducted off of your income. So a lot of people will end up getting down to zero if they have larger families or if their income isn't super high for their taxable income, and then they don't have to pay any taxes. So they don't have anything to tax. Next year, for you to be aware of, they are eliminating the exemptions, but they are doubling the deduction. So what that means is this year you would get a $6,300 deduction and $4,050 for being a person deducted off of your income. Next year you would just get $12,600. Okay? The drawback to that is that you don't get to claim any of the people. So if you're a single person and you're supporting 2 other people, you get the exact same deduction as if you were just a single person by yourself. So just be aware of that on your taxes. That is one of the changes that has occurred this year. What's left over after they've done all of these adjustments and deductions is going to be your taxable income. Depending on where that income is at and what your status is, they're going to calculate your tax on it. The highest tax bracket, I believe, has now been reduced to, I want to say 31%. Still trying to catch up on all the new laws. It was 35, which was one of the highest in the world, but it has been reduced, and most people weren't really paying that percentage of their income because after all the deductions and allowances, you were paying significantly less. So calculate your tax, and then they look at your W-2s and they see how much money was taken out of your checks. So if your tax is $1,000 and they took $2,000 out of your paychecks, they'll send you back $1,000. When people file their taxes and it's called a refund, it's because they are literally refunding you your own money. So a lot of people are like, oh, they get all this money from the government. That's money that they took that was already yours. So it's not like they're giving you free money. They took that out of your paycheck. You paid that to them. They're just giving it back to you. There are other ones that you can receive. So if you have children, there's credits like the earned income credit, child tax credit, credits like that. Those can be thousands of dollars. One of the important ones I want you all to be aware of is the American Opportunity Tax Credit. This is a credit you get for going to college. You can get up to $1,000 of that tax credit refunded to you. If your parents are not alive and are not claiming you as a dependent child. Otherwise, you should have your parents claim you until you turn 24. They can not only receive that the opportunity tax credit, but they can also receive an earned income credit on you. Even if you go to school out of state, your parents can still claim you on their return because it is considered to be a temporary absence if you are attending school. So your parents could get the $1,000 refunded plus the earned income credit. And that's entirely up to you and your family, but I can say I'm claiming my college daughter this year, and I will be giving her the money that I'm getting from claiming her because otherwise she would be claiming herself. So you can always work that out with your parents, but be aware that until you're 24, as long as you're going to school full time, they are still able to claim you and get that money. So that can be another $1,000 just cash that's refunded to you. So that covers the tax forms, and now on to credit. I just wanted to give you guys a quick down and dirty on taxes so you're aware of how those work. Sorry I couldn't show you the forms. If you want to, I'll put a piece of paper out, and if you want to write your email addresses on it, I can send my PowerPoint presentation over to you so you guys can actually look at the slides and see what that looks like. Credit is a huge deal. Everybody wants credit. It's a good thing to have, right? If you want to go buy a car, you want to be able to be approved. We all want a good credit score. And you always hear people say, well, my credit score is 640 or 650 or whatever it is. There is no solid credit score. I can walk into one bank and have a 670 and walk across the street and have a 620. There are hundreds of different ways to pull a credit score. Every place uses different ones. There's FICO, there's Vantage, there's underneath FICO are a whole plethora of other credit scores. So you could have 3 places that all pull FICO credit scores and all give you a different credit score. Are we good?
I hope so.
So essentially, your credit score is based on several very important factors. The first one is going to be no late payments. I'm gonna wait for slides on this. So
I will continue talking to you guys then. Let's see. Okay, continuing with the colleges. What colleges do you guys want to go to? What college do you want to go to? Yeah. Nice. I personally want to go to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So that's my goal. What are you guys interested in learning about today in this class? Anything specific? I think everyone wants to get money. I take 2 college classes. Does anyone in here have a job?
I liked it because you're in the high school job.
Yeah, that's how it's working.
So I'm like trying to stock up on our first class every day.
That's wrong.
Can't be
I'm a junior and
Oh my
I like to see this.
Come on, Danny.
I go to
Even have this section.
okay, what's up?
Your paper?
children, so they're like,
You go out one.
where's that at?
Oh, okay. And it's a real ball.
sorry guys, give me a minute.
It's like his shirt is
The one that doesn't have
Does anyone else have any questions?
Did anybody have any questions about the tax portion?
So bus movie you guys go to?
Well, is it all up there? Cut off on this screen, is it all up there?
It's like the top. Yeah, it's just the top is cut off. So the
You guys don't need to see that. Sorry, I've had a lot of businesses that actually gets real when I actually go to this. All right. I'm gonna fly real quick through the tax forms and not describe them, but just let you look at them and see what they are. All right. Any second now. Oh, I totally skipped this part. So what happens when you're prepared and don't have your slides? See that? So one of the things I do want to talk about that is actually rather important. You guys all know what a currency is, right? Name a currency. Name another currency. Name another one. You guys all named one currency. Money. Okay? There are 4. Money is just one of them. And money isn't even the most important one. Why do you want money? Is it so you can buy things? So you buy things and what are you going to do with those things?
Stable life.
yeah, buy a house.
What are you going to do with those things though?
Live. It's a lifestyle.
So there's the house. What else? So you want to buy
Cars.
a car. So you're going to drive your car. When are you going to drive it if you're working all the time?
When you go to work, when you go to the store.
So when do you get to enjoy the things you buy if your only concern is the currency of money? Right? You guys want time to enjoy the things that you have? Time to be with people that you want to hang out with? Time to be with your friends? Would you say that you'd rather have money or that you'd rather have time?
Money.
Really? What would you do with it though? If you're working 18 hours a day and then going home and going to bed, all the money in the world, what good is that going to do you if you have no time? You can have both. So these 4, time, knowledge, money, and relationships, life is all about exchanging them. The wealthy do not think in terms of money, and you would think that they did, but they're not out there exchanging their time for money. They're not like, I'm going to sell you an hour of my life for $10 that I will never ever get back so I can have $10 more in my bank account that I can pay taxes on. They trade other things in order to acquire more of that wealth and in order to acquire more of that money. When you go to college, you get knowledge, which means you get more money. And it's not done by the hour. Doctors are not paid by the hour. People who are on a salary are not paid by the hour. And they're paid more because they have knowledge. So I just want you to be aware of that. When you go out in your life and you're looking at something and you think to yourself, I'm going to go work and I'm going to make $9 an hour at this job, and you hate that job, I want you to think to yourself, do I really value that $9 more than an hour of me hating my life? And if you're going to be stuck there for 8 hours of hating your life, for $72, is it really worth it to you? You want to learn how to be able to leverage your other currencies, right? So some people, someone who does taxes, I can do a tax return. I can finish a tax return in 20 minutes. Do you know how much I charge? $250. Am I exchanging my time for money? I am not. I'm exchanging my knowledge for money. That tax return is, if it takes me 15 minutes and someone else does it and it takes them 45, they charge the same that I charge. Because they charge by the form, just like I do. And it's not about the time, it's about the money. So while you're living your life, you really want to think of these 4 currencies and keep them in mind. Because there are so many people out there who spend all of their lives working at a job that they hate so they can make money to drive a nice car and have a fancy house that they never get to be at, with family that they love that they never get to see because they're working all the time so they can continue to afford the things they don't even get to enjoy. So recognize what you have. If you know how to do something that other people don't know how to do, exchange that knowledge instead of exchanging your time. Just want to keep that up in your heads. Now, when you look at money and relationships, you have the 5th credit right here. Credit means that you're able to leverage your relationships to get more money. They make a relationship with you and they give you money that you will pay back, but you don't actually have to work for it right then. Okay, so that's where we got that. We talked about the 2 types of work. This is a W-4. It will look slightly different after it comes out again in February, but they're going to continue using these to complete people's tax withholdings. So here's where you say single, married, all of that. And here's where you would put your number of allowances. You can also choose to have more withheld, which is that bottom one. If you do that, that would be like if you know you are bad at saving money. And you're like, I really want $1,000 at the end of the year, and I know that I will never put $1,000 in the bank. And maybe you'll put $100 in the bank, and then next week when you like really want to go to the movies or something, then you take your $100 out and you spend it, right? We all do that. You can actually have them take it out of your paycheck, send it to the IRS, and at the end of the year, when you file for your refund, they give it back to you. So that is what that box is for, if you choose to do that. This is going to be the W-2 that we talked about. There's your wages. There's the taxes that they withhold, federal and state. Some states do not have a state income tax. And here is the ones that you don't get back. Like I said, I'm flying through this. So that's where you get paid. The green box is where you get paid working, but you're not an employee. And sometimes you'll have numbers in that other box, number 3. If there's a number in there, you don't have to pay that 15% self-employment tax. And that's usually like if you win something. On that note, if you win something, you have to pay taxes on it. So when you watch a game show and someone's like, oh, I won a $200,000 car, they have to pay 25% in taxes on that. So if they don't have $50,000, they did not just win a $200,000 car. They do not leave with that car unless they can pay the taxes on it. So just a heads up on that. Here's the form. There's where they use all that stuff to calculate your tax rate. That's where your wages go. There's your self-employment. That's where they're going to total it up. And then we've got the adjustments, and then they total it at the bottom. Sorry, you guys, I'm really going through this one quick. And then they take your total, take out your deductions, which I told you about. You do have an option for itemizing. That option is if you're a homeowner, if you have really high medical bills, and it's just if you are able to show that you spend more than what they're already giving you credit for, you can take that one instead. Okay, there's your exemptions, which will go away. Taxable income. Sorry, like I said, I'm flying through. And that box is where you're going to see whether you owe or whether you get money back. These are all the other fun forms that you can get. Self-employment forms, sale of a house, if you own a business, you got your Schedule Ks if you're in a partnership, if you and your friend are like, let's start, we know how to do something really cool, we know how to fix computers, let's start a business doing that. You guys want to do that? You would be a partnership, and then you're able to receive these forms and get other deductions. Ooh, okay, which is hotter?
32 degrees.
Is 32 degrees hotter? We all agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
What if I tell you that it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit and 1 degree Celsius, which is hotter?
1 degree Celsius.
It all, nope, 1 degree Celsius. It all matters what scale you're using. 32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. It all matters what scale you decide to use. Oh, so glad I got my slides back. All right, if you get a $20,000 loan and you have amortized interest, which is a front-loaded interest rate, which means that instead of letting you pay just on the balance and then it pays it down, they put all your interest in the front. So if your first payment's $1,000, so here you got your payment, $618, you're gonna pay $316 in that. More than half is interest, and you got the rest going to principal. What that means is that in a year you've paid, $62,25.72. But what is your balance on a $20,000 loan? You have really only paid $2,640. You've paid less than half toward the actual balance of the loan if you have an amortized loan. Student loans are amortized. Car loans are amortized. Mortgages are amortized. You are paying all interest in the front. With a longer loan, so this loan's only 5 years. A home loan is typically 30 years. You actually end up paying over 100% of the value of your house in interest. So if you buy a $250,000 house, you're going to pay more than $500,000 if you pay it off to the end. So this loan, you would pay in 5 years on a $20,000 loan. If you got a loan for college or you got a car loan, you'd pay $31,000 for that car. Same loan, only this is going to be, instead of a loan, it's going to be on simple interest with a 19% interest rate. So same amount of money, but now we're down to 16. And we've actually paid $3,000. You're still going to pay money to interest, it's just not going to be as much. And again, this is a short loan, so you don't pay as much. You're going to pay $30,000 on that same one. This is your typical curve for an amortized loan. The top line is your interest, bottom line is your principal. You make your full payment, this much is how much it pays toward the balance on the loan. So if your loan is $1,000 and this was $100 and that's $900, you'd pay $100 on your balance. The rest would be interest. And you can see it goes down, and eventually there's a point where they cross, and then you start paying more principal than interest, which is good, right? Most people never get there. Right here, this is our refinancing line. What that means is you decide that your loan payments are too high, or you decide that you want to borrow money against, if it's a house, you're like, oh, I have equity, I'm going to borrow money against the equity in my house and make improvements. So you refinance. And then what it does is it moves this line all the way back here. And you start over again, just paying interest. 5 to 7 years, people usually end up having to, they refinance and then they start over. So if you did that twice, you could pay almost 250 to 300% on the value of your house. Just by refinancing. You could have bought 2 houses. So that's one of the problems with the amortization. We're going to talk loans, all right? A loan means the money goes out to you once, and you keep paying it every month. If I make an extra payment to my bank on my loan, if I pay them an extra $1,000, can I go to them next week and say, oh, my car broke down, I need that $1,000 that I gave to you? No, because I was paying back a loan, right? I could borrow another $1,000 and start over again, which I would never do, but you could do that, but they're not going to give you that money back. The interest is amortized like I just showed you, so they pre-calculate all of the interest for the life of the loan, and they say that we're going to have you pay this much, and then they put it all at the beginning, and then they just keep charging you until you cross that point. And if you prepay, it doesn't go against your principal. So if I paid an extra $1,000, they don't automatically apply it to the principal I owe. They will hold it until I have come up and paid exactly the amount I need for it to be one full extra payment before they even apply it. So if you do every extra payment with an extra $200 because you think you're going to pay down your principal, that's not what happens. They just hold it until all of those 200s have totaled up to be one payment, and then they'll finally apply it. So that's a loan. Now lines are better than loans. Lines are simple interest. It's revolving. If I have a credit card and I pay an extra $1,000 on my credit card and my car breaks down, can I spend that $1,000 that I just paid? I can. That's awesome, because now I can go drive my car again that's broken down. So that's going to be revolving. You can access it as much as you want, up to your credit limit, obviously, but you can pay it back, take it out over and over and over again, as much as you want to. Simple interest is just calculated on your current balance. So if you pay it off, then it's paid off when they calculate it. If you pay all those extra amounts, it's calculated just on that, not over the whole life of the loan. And if you prepay it, it immediately reduces your balance. If I pay an extra $100, they immediately take that off of my principal. They don't just hold it until it equals a payment. So this is the way most people bank. They get their money, they pay their rent, car, credit card, student loans, lifestyle. These numbers are for Colorado, and these are the actual average numbers. This is the total expenses for one person in Colorado, or I'm sorry, for 2 people in Colorado with their student loans, lifestyle, cars, and everything. They made $50 per month, $5,326, and they spent $5,051. So income minus expenses means they have $275 a month to do whatever with. What do most people do with the extra money they have? You put it in savings, right? Here you go. Savings accounts get 0.06% interest. Does anybody know what the rate of inflation is? Last week it was about 1.9%. If I put money in there, am I making money or losing money? I'm losing. Every dime that goes in there, I'm losing. money on it. You can get some savings account or some checking accounts that are awesome and some savings accounts that are awesome. They'll pay you 1%. You are still not going to keep up with inflation. You are still losing money. That's what everybody does. And why do we put it in there? For a rainy day, right? And what happens when a rainy day comes? We go get a loan from the bank. Or we use our credit cards. And that money still sits in there and does nothing for us. Just sits there. The alternative is to take that credit card payment. We're going to come down here. And we're going to take all of our money. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay. We're going to take all of our money. And instead of putting it into checking, or we'll run it through checking and put it all onto our credit card. That means we don't have to pay this $760 anymore, right? That expense has already been paid. The second we put it all in here, it's paid. It's gone. Now we have rent, car, student loans, lifestyle. Our expenses are $42.91, which leaves us with $53.26 minus our expenses, and that's a cash flow of $1,035. If every month that you had a balance, you have to have a balance for this to work. They will not let you pay more than what you owe. If you don't owe anything, they're not going to be like, oh yeah, give us $5,000. But this credit card here, if you pay everything, and then you pay all your bills, it's going to go back up. But all of these chunks are going to make it go down fast. You could pay down a $10,000 credit line in 6 months. Doing this on the basic income where you only had $275 a month left over, extra every month. You don't have to eat less. You don't have to start eating ramen and beans for every meal. You don't have to start working 3 jobs. All you have to do is change the way you're banking. The way we learned how to bank is that the bankers taught us how to bank. But the bankers, who makes money off of the way we bank? The banks do. So they're going to have us do what makes them money. Basically, when you put money in a savings account, it doesn't sit at the bank. They lend it to other people, and then they charge them interest. So you lend them your money, you lend them $1,000 to the bank, and they're paying you your 0.06% interest. And they turn around and lend to someone else to buy a car, and they charge them 20% interest. Is that good for you? It's good for them. So this is the better way to bank. Then, when you pay it off, you could buy debt out of your student loan using your credit card. Pay off your $10,000 and pay off $10,000 on your student loan and knock all of that front-loaded interest out. Pay it off in another 6 months so you can keep this going. So basically, this is a graph of what it looks like. You got your free cash, the amount that you're paying every month, your free cash flow, those all of our free cash flows. Here's how many years it would take to pay off. So your $20,000 loan, 19%, 5 years. If you just make extra payments, you'll have it paid off in 3.83 years. So you'll only pay $8,000 in interest instead of $11,000 in interest. 14% interest rate, you'll save $2,800. If you do basic, which is what I just told you, where you take your credit card and you buy chunks of that debt off using your card, you can pay you'll have the free cash flow. It'll only take you a little over 3 years to pay it off. You're going to only pay $6,000, so your interest rate is now dropped almost in half to 10%. You're going to save $5,000. You do it that way. And then advanced, this is if you have a $500 credit line. The reason you would do that is that it builds your credit. So this is how you are going to start building your credit now. Pay attention. This is what you want to know. Credit score is based on the age of your credit. You increase that if you have your parents, or obviously you would want to get them to trust you first. They can just add you onto their card as an authorized user, and that increases your credit age. So if they've had a credit card for 20 years and they add you on as an authorized user and you're 18, what's the age of your credit? 20 years. So it increases the average age of your credit. It's don't ever cancel a revolving account. You always hear people and they're like, oh, if you're not using those cards, pay them off and cut them up and cancel them and throw them. Don't ever do that. Even if you have a super high interest rate on it, don't cancel it. Use it once a month. Go buy a roll of toilet paper and then pay it off. Do that. You can pay your credit card every week if you want to. You can pay it every day. You can send in a payment. You could use it today and then pay everything I use tomorrow, just to keep the credit card open. Start your history the day you turn 18. The day you turn 18, take $500 and go get a $500 secured card to show that your credit history has started immediately. My 19-year-old started her credit 6 months ago, and her score is running about a 750 right now. Top is 8. She did this by getting a secured card and never carrying a balance. She paid it off every month. So her credit is stellar. And it's very hard to get there. Ask your parents if they think a 750 credit score is good. It's awesome. And she did it in 6 months. Your credit score is also based off your diversity. We talked about how lines of credit are better than loans, right? To save money. But if you actually want to get credit and have a higher credit score, you need to have diversified credit on there. So you can, if you're going to buy a car, let's say you have $5,000, you're going to go buy a car. You can do the same thing as you did with the secured card, only you go to the bank and you say, I want a secured loan, and instead of using the car as collateral, because if you use the car as collateral at the dealership, they're going to charge you like 19% and amortize it. You can go to the bank and be like, I have $5,000. I want a secured loan using this $5,000. They'll take your cash and they'll give you $5,000 to go buy a car. They're going to charge you a lower interest rate, and then when you pay your car off, they give you back your $5,000. So now you have a car and $5,000. You make your payments on your loan every month like you're supposed to, and at the end, you get your $5,000 back and you have a car. And it builds your credit. This one is the biggest one, payment history. Always make your payments on time. Always, 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 always. Never miss a payment if you can. Payments on credit are the biggest things. If you do fall behind, beware of payment priority. If I have a bill that's 7 days late, or that's 37 days late, and I have a bill that's about to be 30 days late, which one should I pay first? You should pay the one that's about to be 30 days late. The reason is this. That payment that's 37 days late will be considered 30 days late until it's 60 days late. So whether I pay it at 31 days or I pay it at 51 days, it's still a 30-day late payment, and nothing I can do is going to change that. But that payment that's almost 30 days is not late until it hits that 30-day mark. So you want to make sure you keep your eye on the priority where that payment is going to go. Okay? Revolving utilization. A lot of people think that it's your income to debt ratio, and it is not. Your credit score has nothing to do with your income. They do not look at your income. What they look at is how much of your debt you're using, your debt to utilization. So if you have a $50,000 credit line that you're allowed to use and you're using $45,000 of it, that's a 90% utilization ratio, and your credit score nosedives. You want to try to stay under 30%. If you have $10,000 in credit, try to keep it at around $3,000 of use. That's at the billing cycle. So you can use it all month long and then pay it off before they run a bill, and they don't even notice that. The one thing to be aware of is that they used to just take a snapshot. So if you were going to go apply for a loan, you'd pay off all your credit cards and then go apply for the loan, and then they would look at it and they'd be like, oh, look, she's not using her credit. Now, if you do that, they actually take the last 2 years and average it. So if you carry it for 10 months and then you pay it all off and go in and think that that's going to benefit you, it won't do that anymore, because now they're going to look at the past 2 years and see how much you've been carrying. Hard inquiries. So a hard inquiry means you go to get a line of credit, or you go to get a loan, or you go to get a whatever, they run your credit. They're soft credit pulls, which means you look at your own credit, doesn't affect your credit score. So Credit Karma, which you guys have all heard of, get on that. It's free. It tells you what your credit score is, and it doesn't touch your credit to be able to look at it. You can look at it 10 times a day. It doesn't touch your credit. So if you're going to get cards, you want to space your inquiries out. If you go and apply for 10 credit cards all at one time for a whole bunch of money on different cards, you go online and you're like, oh, I'm going to apply for all these credit cards, it looks bad. It looks bad for 2 reasons. One is the people who are reviewing it go, this person seems pretty desperate. So there must be something in their life that's making them have to have this money now, and that makes them less likely to be able to pay it. So they're less likely to give you that money. They're not heavily weighted, and they usually fall off relatively quickly. You're looking at like 2 to 3 points depending on what measure they're using for running a hard inquiry. But I mean, if you run 10, that's 30 points, which is a pretty big ding. So you want to space them out unless you're applying for a car or home loan. Those, you want to put them all together, and the reason is they count all of it as one. If I go to 10 banks and apply for 10 car loans, they count that as one hit for car loans because they expect you to do that for loans. Lines of credit, they don't, because they're like, you should, if you're not getting it the first time or second time, you probably should be stopping. But the car loans or home loans, you're gonna look for what the best rate is, and that's why they will let you do it all at once. Every lender will appear on the report, so when they pull it, it'll show that you went to 10 banks, and it'll show every time they pulled it, but it's not gonna affect your score. And another thing to be aware of is that sometimes you go in and you apply for something, and then you get your report, and it's got 5 people, but you only applied at one place, and it shows all these different things from people. When you sign the document that says that they are allowed to run your credit, and I'm guessing that now you guys will hopefully read it, but you might not have in the past. If you read the whole thing, it actually says on there that you are authorizing that lender or their affiliates to check your credit. So anybody who is affiliated with that lender is now allowed to run your credit score. So just be aware of that. Always read things. A contract guy that I work with, when he hires employees, that puts a clause in his contract that says that he takes ownership of their car when they come to work for him. And nobody reads it. And they all sign it. He said out of the years he's been doing it, one person has read it and caught that. And he always tears the contract up and then gives them a different one. But be aware, like, you can put anything you want in a contract. And you need to know what you're signing. So the last one is derogatory marks. Collections, bankruptcies, foreclosures, liens, they will stay on your credit for 7 to 10 years. So people always say 7 years. That is not true. It depends on the one. If you pay it off, it doesn't always remove the mark, and it can actually make them leave it on there longer. Because when they first put it on, it's from the date they add it. But when you make a payment, that new date is now the start date. So if it's supposed to fall off in 7 years, that's 7 years from the date you made a payment. If someone tells you, if you pay this, then we'll take it off of your credit, get it in writing. So like Comcast or whatever will call, and you'll be like, it's on my credit, and they'll be like, oh, we'll take it off if you pay it. Make them give that to you in writing. You can request to have them reviewed. People don't realize it's a lot easier to get things off of your credit than you would think. Basically, you write a letter and says, I disagree with this being on my credit. You have to prove that it has to be there. And if they can't prove it, if they don't have documentation to send to the credit bureau to prove that that mark has to be there, they have to take it off of your credit report. And you would be amazed how many creditors, if you send those letters to the creditor and to the bureau, will just take the mark off. Because they're not going to get their money from you, and it's not doing them any good. And if they don't remove it and they don't provide the evidence, there are massive consumer protections in place where you can file lawsuits against them. Does anybody have questions? Did I go too fast now because I was trying to keep up? Okay.
Okay, so like, what if, when, like, let's say you're younger, and then your parents, like, open something for your credit, and that messes your credit score up, and then when you're 18, you go open a credit card, they tell you no because your credit score is bad.
So, like what? You mean like get a utility bill or something in your name?
Yeah, like Comcast or...
You can get that taken off. Because legally, Comcast was not allowed to sign a contract with you because it is against the law for someone under the age of 18 to sign a legally binding contract. And in order for them to be able to use your social security number and your credit, you have to be able to sign a contract. When you get Comcast, you enter into a contract. Even if you do it over the phone, you can't do that. So if someone uses your information, you just send in a letter and you say, I'm 17, or I just turned 18 and you have a mark from 3 years ago for CenturyLink and I was, 15 years old, there's no way I ever got into that contract. And they have to take it off. So that's the letter that you send to the bureau and the creditor.
Is it better to have one credit card or multiple credit cards?
In my opinion, it's better to have as many credit cards as you can, and the reason is because you have diversification on that. Additionally, when you've had them for a while, you can actually call in. Like if you always make your payments on time, you can call in and be like, hey, I would really like you to double my credit line, and I've been with you guys for 3 years, and I've always made my payments on time, and I've got this letter in the mail saying they'll give me a 0% interest rate for 18 months. Can you do that? And you'll be amazed how many credit card companies will be like, oh yeah, sure. And they'll reduce your interest rate to 0 for 18 months, and they'll double your credit line. But you want to be able to diversify it and have it spread out, and also you'll find that there are more benefits. Like you get a Southwest card that gives you points for all your gas. Or you have one that gives you points for shopping at Target or wherever it is that you shop, and then you're able to increase the amounts of points that you get, and you can utilize whichever cards are going to give you the best payouts at that time. Then if you have one that has a really high interest rate and won't reduce it, you keep that card, but you use it for one roll of toilet paper a month, and you just actually use the other ones. So diversification's good. Yes, sir?
So you're saying as soon as I turn 18, I should get a credit card and just buy small things and pay it off? It's like buy small things and pay it off and just work on my credit?
Yep. So you go get the secured credit card, sorry. You take your money. Any, like Discover is one of the best ones. The reason Discover is one of the best is because if you make all of your payments on time with Discover for 6 months, they give you back your money. So if you get a secured credit card for $500 and you make your payments all on time, they'll give you back your $500, and typically they'll double your credit line. So they will give you back $500 and then they'll make your credit line $1,000 instead of $500. And they are one of the best to work with. So just because they have that program in place for the secured card holders. There are a couple of other ones that'll do that. On that note, make sure you always read it, because some of them are secured and you will never get that security back. If you want to get the security back, they'll close the account. So you want to check and make sure that it's one where they will consider sending that money back to you once they convert you over to a regular line. Yes, ma'am?
So you talked about how we can get on our parents' line as an authorized user
Mm-hmm.
to like boost our credit once we turn 18. Does their credit affect our own?
Nope.
So, okay.
Yeah, people always talk, and you hear people are like, oh, my husband and I, we got this credit, and he messed up my credit. His score messed up. They are totally separate. So you being on their card doesn't affect their credit, and it doesn't affect yours. There's no tie. The only thing, well, it affects you because you have now the age of the credit history, but it doesn't give you any benefit if they have a really high one or a really low one. Doesn't affect you at all. Anyone else? Are we done time then?
Angela does have something for you. Oh, did you get it?
This is a gift from all of us on behalf of the Educating Children of Color Conference.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I mean, that girl in the front row.
Maybe.
Okay, and if you guys have any questions and you want to contact me at any point, or if your parents have questions because they're having any issues with credit or anything, or they want to know more, you can call me. I guess I should get my phone number for that. It's 720-364-7622. 720-364-7622. Yes, ma'am.
Will you still send the PowerPoint to us?
Yes, if you give me your email addresses, I'll put this paper up here on the front upside down, and if you want to write your email addresses on it, I will forward you the PowerPoint presentation, and then you'll also have my email, so you guys can reach me at that. And again, yeah, if your parents have questions, or they're wanting to know like how to convert how to do the home mortgage thing and get their home mortgage paid off, so you can pay a home mortgage off in about 7 to 10 years instead of 3, and save hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about adding her, tag on her question. So if the parent and or the kid doesn't make a payment on that dual
Both
card,
of their credit
then
scores
both
go
of their
down.
credit scores will be affected.
Yes.
Right.
So that's not their credit score that's affecting each other, but absolutely, if anything is derogatory within that line that you are on, it will affect you. Okay?
We still have 5 minutes, so.
Really quick.
Sorry about the whole thing.
That's okay.